You're on the world. I'm PL Stewart. I have been looking forward to this chat for so long. Oh my gosh. This is one of my favorite booktubers. He's just an incredible human. I think he's probably, I have to say this, just I don't know him that well, but he's probably one of the most well-rounded people that I've met on booktube. Like
Thank you.
it was funny, like I asked Jake to send me a headshot for the thumbnail for the, and then I remember some friends were like, "Oh, 2 tickets to the gun show," like, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, like, Jake showing off his pipes, right? I'm like, well, Jake's fit. Why not, man? You got to flaunt it, man. You know what I mean? So, but it's just so amazing that he's much more than pretty face. The guy is quite really academic. He is now Dr. Flossie, Dr. Jake. Huge congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So, anyways, we'll get on that later. But, anyways, welcome to Six Elementals, Jake. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, man. I'm a huge fan of yours as a person, as a booktuber, as an author. This is purely my honor to be here. So thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited and honored to have you here, my friend. Yeah, but quickly, I just want to, and I'm going to pull on this thread again as we go along. Forgive me, I know I'm embarrassing you, but yeah, like I think, and obviously for those who some people, a lot of your fans, people in your Discord, etc., like they'll know much more about you than perhaps some people are tuning in. But at the same time, yeah, like when I say well-rounded, I mean you are an academic. You just got a doctorate. Congratulations again. If you don't mind sharing a few tidbits just about your major and what your doctor's all about,
Sure.
and why you chose that field of study, perhaps.
Sure. Yeah. So I very quick background that will matter. I I got out of high school, right? And I was like, let me go into engineering because I've always been good at math and physics or whatever, right? And that's kind of my high school tended to kind of gear people. It was like either nursing or engineering were kind of where people were geared towards. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll do that. And I would have been okay at it, but I just didn't like it. So I actually am a college dropout, um, and wound up just working retail job, hated it, whatever. And in the middle there, I was like, I just don't feel that good about myself, right? Like, I need to like exercise. And so I had like lifted weights some in high school for sports or whatever. But then I was like, let me get back to that because it's been like years. I haven't done anything. I just don't feel good and, whatever. So I got back into it and pretty quickly was like, man, there's got to be like a better way to do this. Like, is there any like, you hear like the Jack dude gives you recommendations, but like, is he right? I don't know. So I was like, oh, there's people that talk about like science with this. Interesting. I trust that a little bit more. And then pretty quickly, I just fell head over heels for that and was like, man, could I do this as a job? I kind of hate working retail. Could I do this? And decided, let's give it a shot, So it sounds so silly, but like I wanted to be, essentially a personal trainer, but like working online because that just fits my schedule, personality preferences better. And I was like, okay, well, there's a million and a half of these. How do you stand out? How do you make a name for yourself? And I was like, the people that I really look up to that seem to do really well and be successful and they're respected and all these things, a lot of these people have graduate degrees. A lot of them are PhDs. And I was just like, oh, I'll do that. I'll just go get a PhD. And so what started as a way to stand out on social media became a 10-year plan of getting a PhD. And luckily, along the way, I was like, oh, I actually do love this. The research is actually super fun and interesting. And thank God, because otherwise I don't think I would have made it through. But that's basically it. I just really liked lifting weights, wanted to stand out a little bit. And now here we are 10 years later, we actually did the thing. So it's wild.
Wow, what an amazing story. I mean, because for me, I'm thinking like, okay, like, and I totally get, yep, great career, personal trainer, and like you said, you want to stand out, but then uh, I just that just makes me even admire you more because frankly, I mean, regardless of whether you're an academic or not, it's so tough to find the discipline to go get a master's and then a
Sure.
PhD. And all that is involved with that, like just the fact that you decide to go that route and do it that way is just extremely impressive, right? Like,
Thanks. Dude, it's so okay. I don't mean this to sound bad. Um, personal trainers are very important. It's an awesome job. It's like serious, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It is fantastic. When I first started thinking about doing this, and I was like, I went and got a certification, right? Because technically, that's all you need, right? Is just a certification. And I got this cert, and I was just like, damn, that's all I have to know? That doesn't seem right. And so that's when I was like, okay, let me, dig into this more. And I really, I do not mean that as a shot to people who don't have a degree. Like, you don't need a degree. If you don't want it, don't get it. It's a waste of time for you, right? But for the people who find it really interesting the way I describe grad school is like, your bachelor's, you're just learning foundational stuff, which is vital. Master's is you're now being a part of like new stuff, right? Like you're being a part of some research being done. A PhD is like you are literally creating new knowledge. And how cool is that? Right. So, like, for people who get excited about that sort of thing, it's super worth it. Right. At least provided you're okay with trade offs career wise. So there's all kinds of stuff with academia and whatever. I know so many people who have degrees who don't get a job in the field, and maybe they don't even want one, right? Which is fair. But yeah, it's a whole can of worms. But I'm glad that I opened it. It's been extremely rewarding and fun, honestly. Also, I mean, like you said, it is a lot of work, but it's also like at the end of the day, taking some classes, whatever. But like, we're just in there lifting weights. We just write stuff down and run stats on it later. Like that's it. We're just in there hanging out with friends, and I've made so many friends that we'll be friends forever. And I've been to their weddings, and like it's just like the people that I've met here are just incredible. So I've had a great time. It hasn't really felt like it's felt difficult in some ways, but like I wouldn't change a thing. I would do it all over again.
wow, wow, that's incredible. So, if I can ask, like, and again, congratulations, doctor. What's the next step?
Well, the next step is to get a big boy job, right? So I went through the whole job application process, which is a lot, but we did it. And so I have a job lined up for in August. I will be a tenure track. They call it assistant professor is what you start out as, and then as you go, assuming you do well, then get promoted to associate professor, and then from there full professor. Later you get tenure, you do all the stuff. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the track that I'll be on, and I'm stoked, man. It's going to be a change, a big change in some ways, but like it's also just kind of keep doing the same stuff I've been doing. Like I already teach a class, I already do research. It's just kind of more of that same stuff. Um, but the university I'm going to is uh, honestly, I think like the perfect fit for me and the kind of stuff I want to do. Different different universities are very different with like their expectations, and that's another whole you could talk about that for an hour, but like they're just different. And so I was able to I'm very fortunate to have found the spot that I did, and that it worked out, and that I got hired there, and that it's really the sweet spot for me, where they have the resources, they have the lab equipment, they have all the stuff that I want, but my entire job doesn't depend on me bringing in millions and millions of dollars of
Yes.
government funding and
I'm
stuff,
like,
right? So, you get those really high end jobs that pay really well and whatever, but wow, is it stressful and
yes.
it's cutthroat and all that. And it's just not for me, right? Like, I don't know if people can tell from my channel, I'm pretty laid back, right? So, like, I don't want that. I want the middle ground, right? So I'm very fortunate, very grateful. I do have to move here over the summer, which I'm stressed about, but whatever. We'll get through it. But yeah, that's the next step.
Wow. Well, again, humongous congratulations. I mean, I guess I'm just blown away by the fact that um and perhaps things went obviously in a clearly positive direction that perhaps you weren't
Yeah.
anticipating. So, like, because when you say, okay, I did this because I want to stand up as a personal trainer, but
Yeah.
you end up becoming an academic, uh,
Uh-huh.
and being in the whole scholastic world. But now you're staying there. It's not
Yeah.
like you're okay. Now I'm going to open my personal training business. I'm going to have clients. Like, you're going to actually formally be part of the educational system that helps educate people with nutrition and exercise and diet
Yeah.
and wellness and things like that. You're going to be an academic. You're going to be a professor
Yeah.
of of fitness, essentially, right?
Yeah. It's
Like,
so weird, man. I I never ever would have thought that I would do this. Never. Uh, it's just it's so there's a few aspects to it, I guess. Like one of them is I am still doing the personal trainer thing, right? Like I was able to start that in really the last year of my undergrad. I kind of started just like, hey man, like, will you please let me just do this? You don't have to pay me money. Just please give me a chance. Right? You're just begging people and starting to kind of prove yourself a little bit. You get some good reviews, whatever. And so I started trying to do that in my undergrad, and then that's been kind of slowly, building up. And the grad school did help with that, right? So that's good that that panned out, I guess. But, that's the other cool thing about this university job is that they're like, "Yeah, do whatever as long as you do a great job here, you can do that, that's great?" So, the plan is to continue to do both now, which is not what the original plan was just to do the personal training stuff, right? But like I said, I found that I actually do love this research stuff. But also, I think I've come to accept a truth about myself, and that is I really enjoy working for myself. I really enjoy entrepreneurship and that sort of thing. I also really enjoy stability and like healthcare benefits and
yeah,
stuff like that, right? It's pretty cool. And so to be able to find a job that can give me some stability and a salary and healthcare and all that kind of stuff that like if I get married, that stuff extends to my wife and things like that, right? That that's such a great deal. And of course, you do give up some freedom with that, right? Like I have to show up to work at a certain time and I have to whatever, but academia is more flexible than your normal job.
yes.
And, you can work from home for, some portions of it and whatnot. So I'm somehow have stumbled across sort of the best of both worlds where I get some of that stability and do some of the cool research. And then I also get the entrepreneurship, freedom, whatever stuff that I've mitigated the risk with that because it's not my only source of income. And so I don't know how this has worked out, but it's thank you God for helping me and making this happen because it's it's literally the exact career that I want, right? Which is well, aside from I still need to carve out a little bit of time to try writing a book someday, right? Like that's the only
Ah,
other thing. I want
we can talk about that later.
that little something, yeah. But I'm shocked that this is the path that I'm on, but I'm very grateful and happy, and it'll be cool.
Well, we're so grateful and happy for you and just excited for you. And it just, I'm just, like I said, so many of us look up to you on your fans of your channel. Like, it's just great. I think, you're also such a positive person and, like you said, really laid back. And, you'd be one of those profs that I would love when I was in university that I would like, okay, that prof's really cool, man.
Yeah, I hope so.
Class, looking forward to his class. Like, I mean, oh, hope I get, oh, it's too bad he's not teaching this tutorial because, like more one-on-one time to kind of like, hear what, and, I think you would have so much to offer students that you'd have so much to offer. It would be just so rewarding to have you as a prof. So I think they're gonna be really lucky to have you, man. So
Thank you so much. That means so much. It's I actually really look forward to that, which is again so funny. The me of man, high school and early in college and just petrified of public speaking, of being the center of attention, of any of that kind of stuff. And now I'm like, I love it, man. It's so cool. Like it's fun to get up there and teach a class. It's the idea of mentoring somebody. It's amazing. I think about what my mentors have done for me and like the idea of paying that forward and passing that along to new students. It's the coolest thing ever, right? Like it almost makes me emotional just to think about it, let alone to actually do it. Like I did my big defense presentation, whatever, to cap off the degree. And it's like I'm crying the whole time. Like I'm a mess, right? And like just how much this process has meant to me to be able to do that for other people is I'm so looking forward to that. It's going to be really cool.
well, it's a humongous accomplishment, man. It can't be understated. And our educators play such a huge role in our lives,
Yeah.
foundational role in our lives. So thank you for what you're going to be doing, and thank you for being part of that. And yeah, like we said, we're just so happy for you.
Thank you, man.
I just want to quickly put up the wonderful Jared, the fancy thinking Jared, another one of our favorite booktubers, favorite people, just an amazing, incredible human. Check out Jared's channel. He's got some awesome content, and he's secretly another really well-rounded individual. He's got a lot. He's got a lot going on, and has done a lot. I had on our interview as well on Six Element interview. So check out that interview with Jared and I. But yeah, definitely check out his channel. And I'm also very humbled that he's put up a lot of reviews of my books, and has been willing to read along with the John King saga and promote the series because he enjoys it. So thank you, Jared. It's always a great day when you show up in the feed. So thanks, my friend. Hope you're doing well.
Cheers, man.
So tell me a bit about, is it with academic reading, and obviously to get to the point where you are now, you've had to, yes, of course, the fitness part is one aspect, but you've also had to engage in a lot of academic reading and writing,
Yeah.
up to including a PhD dissertation to get your degree and become a doctor,
Yeah.
and now to become a prof. um, how do you compare, and not to say that people, you can't obviously enjoy academic reading, and many people do, right? Or not even, not just necessarily academic reading for, say, like what you did for a degree, but they enjoy reading a nonfiction or self-help books,
Sure.
or things like that aren't like fiction, not speculative fiction, not fantasy, not things like that. But how do you compare your reading life in academia to your reading life with what you do for like a booktube
Mm.
channel and reading all these great fantasy and sci-fi books? How do you compare the two?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. The fantasy sci-fi stuff's a lot more fun, I'll tell you that. Uh, I don't know, it's so I don't read I haven't read a nonfiction book in quite some time. There was during my undergrad especially, I was reading quite a bit. I was just, like, trying to figure out who I was, you know? So I was reading books on, like, stoicism and philosophy, and I read, like, when I was trying to start the personal training business, I read, like, a business book, or I read, um, some, like, psychology, just trying to figure out, "Who am I? How do I do this life thing?" You know? Um, but then it's been some time since I have done that. Now it's any, like, nonfiction stuff, not I guess, whatever, you know what I mean, has been, like, academic papers, basically. And, that is it's funny because it's like, obviously, it's very different from a fiction book, right? Um, but there are some similarities that surprise me, you know, like, especially I've seen this now that I've had to do a lot of academic writing, right? You're writing all these papers and the dissertation and all this stuff, is that there's a lot more through lines. Like, for example, the biggest lesson that I had to learn with academic writing is the it has to be simultaneously very concise. You know, so I think about a writer like Gene Wolfe, for example, very concise, but it says so much, right? So very concise, while at the same time, everything is foreshadowing everything else. So, like, foreshadowing is like the thing. And once I made that connection, I was just like, oh, this is so cool. Like, this is just like, you know, not just like writing a fantasy story or whatever, but like there's, you know, it has that consistent thing that now, you know, once I had that click, I could read an academic paper and I could be like, okay, in the introduction, you know, the first paragraph says this. That's going to come around later. I got to keep an eye out for that specifically, or whatever, right? And that really helped with, you know, just understanding it and whatever. But also it helped immensely with learning how to write because the man, that's been hard. I I actually look back at my first draft of like the first thing I ever tried to write for whatever. And I was like, this is unbelievably bad. It's so bad. It's just hilarious. But at the time I was like, yeah, I'm cooking, you know. Um so yeah, I don't know. They are very different. But there definitely are some consistencies and I've gone through phases where like I was reading a ton of these papers, and other phases where I wasn't reading a whole lot of them because you get kind of burnt out after a while, right? Like you can't really change genre as easily as you can with fiction.
Yeah.
So it gets just, it gets repetitive, or it gets, like there was a whole summer where we were working on a meta analysis, which for anyone unfamiliar, it's basically like all the studies on a certain topic and you group it all together. And so, I'm reading like 67 papers, that me and somebody else split them in half. So I guess it was like 33 or 34. And they're all on the same topic,
Yeah.
and they're all referencing the same things.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, my brain is numb. This is so bad. So whereas like, I could read all of The Wars of Light and Shadow, or I could read all of The Drowned Kingdom, or I could read all of Malazan or whatever. And I'm like, it's never boring. It's like, so yeah, it's a weird one. They are different, but there's definitely some things there.
Yeah, yeah, and those are all such incredible points, Jake. And yeah, Jared, you got it. Writing is hard. It's a joy, but it's hard. And I know you remember this, Jake, but I do encourage you because you will be an author one day. I have no doubt. I have no doubt I'm going to be
Someday.
sitting there singing the praises of your work someday. And just remember what you said. You can go back and rewind this about when for formal academic writing, when you're the first thing you're like, oh, this is so bad. I can't believe it's going to be the same feeling when you write your first. It's going to be the same exact feeling. It's like, oh man, like, oh, this isn't up to caliber. This isn't up to snuff. But
Yeah.
you feel time. Oh, this is great. And then you look back or an editor gets like, oh, like. But that is where everything starts, right?
Yeah.
It starts with the teardown and
Yep.
building it into something that's really really worthwhile. So I
For
know
sure.
you're going to experience that. You're going to have all the joys and the glories and the valleys of being a successful author, fiction author. I have no doubt. Cannot wait to. It's so exciting to hear that you want to write. I do want to get into that too, but it's so exciting for me because, like I said, I admire, respect you so much. I know how intelligent you are. I know how you know books and fantasy. Like, assuming
Mhm.
it's fantasy, I don't want to make any presumptions here,
Yeah.
but I absolutely cannot wait to.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm excited. It'll be
And
fun.
Jared's speaking from a place of experience because Jared sneakily is an author. A lot of people don't know he
Oh,
doesn't. He's so modest. He doesn't talk about his stuff much on his channel, but check out Jared Quarterman, and you'll see some interesting titles there on Amazon under his name. So I'm not going to say too much more, but he's more than just a great booktuber, Jared. So, um, and of course, we have the absolutely incredible and wonderful Joanna,
Hey.
another stupendous booktuber. Thanks so much, Joanna, for stopping by. She says two lovely people. Yeah, always great to see you, Joanna. Check out Joanna's channel, of course. Like, wow, just the
Fantastic.
content, for the discourse on her channel is just amazing. Just incredible insights. I know you guys are
Mhm.
are, are good friends to Jake. So yeah, thanks, Joanna, so much for coming by. It's great to see you. So, um, so how did the channel start? How did this whole nerd level rising? By the way, one of the coolest names. By the way, I meant
Thanks.
to ask you if you wanted to give away any trade secrets. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, okay, so I, the name at least, I guess I'll start with that. The name, I knew, so I was like, "Okay, I wanna start a channel, whatever, and I need a name." And I was just trying to think of, like, I don't like, what's something that won't pigeonhole me too much so that I can have some options, like, if I ever, my original idea for the channel that I did kind of start doing, and then over time it's just sort of evolved to like just be books, which I want to branch back out again. But originally the idea was like, I want to talk about books, but I want to talk about anime and manga, and I want to talk about D&D, and I want to talk about Magic the Gathering, and I like all this nerd stuff. Like, let me have something that's wide ranging. And like I said, now I've only talked about books for so long, so like I want to I want to get back to those other things. But so I wanted something that was general, and I was like, "Well, I like all this nerdy stuff. Maybe nerd could be in the title. Maybe that." And then I was like, I think I was just in the shower one day, as all good ideas come while you're showering, and I was just like, nerd, like I don't know, increasing more like I just started thinking, because then it's like this process of especially when I started the channel, I've read so much stuff since I started the channel, but at the beginning, I was just like, I haven't like I've read some stuff, but I haven't read. There's people who are vastly more versed in this than me, obviously, and still are, of course. But at the time, I was really like, oh, you know. So then I'm like, well, what if this could be almost be framed as like this is my journey through this. I'm increasing in, I'm rising through learning these things and being exposed to these things, and it can be like a journey people can follow along with, and we're together, we're all kind of, so then it just starts to snowball like that. And then one day in the shower, it just popped in my head, nerd level rising. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's broad, we're increasing, as we expose ourselves to more nerdy things. And it was, yeah, so I was like, oh, that's got to be it, right? It's got a nice abbreviation. NLR is an easy thing to say. So like, okay, I'm doing that. So that's the name. The channel itself was really like a combination of two things. One was I was like, I spent so much time reading. I'm like, and like I was in my PhD at the time, but like through my master's and then the first year of my PhD, I was especially like, dude, I'm spending more time reading than I should be, to be honest, given my responsibilities right now. And I was like, I should do something with this to like justify the time. So like that was part of it. I was like, okay, maybe I'll just start this channel. And then I was also watching a lot of booktube at the time. And like, man, this just seems fun. These people just like, I just want to be friends with these people, and I was like, they just seem really cool. And having a channel gives you an excuse to like ask them to be on your channel as a guest or to buddy read a book or whatever. And it's like a way in to not just do this hobby that you love for yourself, but to meet other cool people. And so it was sort of those things. And then when uh, Talking Story was like really hitting its stride, and was starting to kind of blow up a little bit. And they were doing Town Square where they had their viewers send in videos, and I was just like, oh, what the heck? Let me, whatever. I'll throw something in there. And that was the first public thing I ever had, was a Town Square submission. And then I was just like, man, I got to start this. I got to start this thing. So I very much do credit John and Jacob for like that final push to actually jump in, because I was so scared. I was so scared. But we did it, and it's been amazing. And like, I wish I would have started it sooner. This has just been the best thing ever.
Wow. Well, I mean, you've had so much success. Your channel too has blown up. You're very modest, but you've got quite the following in a very short space of time. So kudos to you on that. I got.
Something.
Oh, I gotta show my boy another fantastic booktuber, a master entertainer, and person who is beloved. Brian Bell. See, when Jake comes on, he gets Bell from the house. I look at the car. So, unfortunately, for page viewing, when we had Brian on, Taylor and I had to be in the car broadcast. So he's
I've had to do that
rather
before.
well deserved. But Brian, it's always a great day to see you, my friend. You are so amazing. We love you. So thanks for stopping by to show some love. So Brian is fabulous. Watch everything that Brian puts up. And
100%.
I'm going to just quickly say again, not to embarrass, but Brian, your one for the road is something that I think has actually helped change lives. I think you've changed people's
Agreed.
lives, literally, with some of the wisdom you've passed on in that particular segment of your show. So love you, buddy, and kudos to you, and keep doing what you're doing. It's always great to see you. So
100%. Yeah, I'm such a big fan of Brian. He's the man, and he like not just the channel, like you said, the one for the road is such a unique thing, also, but such an amazing thing. And like, he's super busy. He's been so nice to like, I've asked him question like, dude, what do I do? Like, I'm monetized. What do I do with this? Right. Like, and he's just been so helpful with stuff like that. So yeah, I admire him quite a bit.
yeah, that's the kind of person Brian is. He's just wonderful, just amazing. All the people here in this chat, thinking of the booktube community, Jared, Joanna, Brian, people like that. It's just like you just when you get to know them. I would, that whole saying about never meet your heroes, but you meet these people that you have the social media connection with, and sometimes we get the honor of meeting them in person. Like I know you went to ICFA, you
Yeah.
got to, you've met Jared. I'm not sure if you met Joanna or Brian, but Yeah, like going to Worldcon and meeting all these incredible booktubers and authors. The community is just so fabulous, and these lifelong friendships you refer to that
Yeah,
you find, it's priceless, man. It's just added so much. I know to my
100%.
life, I'm sure to yours, but yeah, the booktube community, it's incredible, man. It's wonderful.
It's
It is.
it's the best. I actually have come to really dislike that saying. I'm like, y'all need better heroes then, because I've met a bunch of them and they're all awesome. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think we need to amend that saying.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. But now, so you have this channel and you have all these viewers, and you decide to expand. You think about getting, because I know a lot of people that said, okay, well, maybe I'll get a Patreon. Maybe I'll do a Ko-fi. Maybe I will have a Discord channel. Maybe like and it's not just about monetization, all things, but also just to reach my audience, to connect
For
with
sure.
them, to form even more bonds and more friendship, and also growth. And so how has that part of the channel gone for you, since all these other wonderful things, because of your popularity, that all these other wonderful things have come? Like, how's that all gone? The reading club,
Yeah.
you have, like, how's all that?
It's so fun, man. It's so fun. It's very much all of those things you mentioned, really. Like, I wanted to, the big, like, I mean, you know this, right? I think every well, I shouldn't say that. There is a small selection of our corner of booktube that probably makes noticeable money from their channel. But like, it's not what people think, right? And so the is there a monetary uh, goal with something like a Patreon or whatever? Like, yes, of course, otherwise it'd be free, right? So like, everybody wants, like, money's great, right? Of course, right? So like, there is a little bit of that, like, man, I put a lot of time and effort into this. I would love to see some little bit of, cover one of the books I was going to buy this month or something, right? But the biggest thing, like you said, is the community, and just meeting more people and deepening those connections with the people, and that has been amazing. The Discord, I kind of fought, somebody. It's a group with like 10 other people, really, that all kind of own this Discord channel. And the first time it was brought up, I was like, nah, I don't have the time for that, man. I'm sorry, like I just can't. And then it was brought up again. I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And I'm so glad that I did. One, because I don't have to run everything, so like I don't have the whole time sink of it, but I get all the benefits of the community and just talking to people, and so that's been awesome. And then like the Patreon has been similarly, just like, man, I guess I didn't really expect uh, how cool it would be, in the sense of like, the people who joined were like people who would comment on videos all the time, right? Which makes sense. Um, but then like, now we talk even more because we have like private parts of the Discord that are only for patrons, or we had the book club stuff. And now I'm just like, wow, I'm just legitimately friends with these people now, right? And we talk all the time, and it's just the coolest thing. And I've been exposed to a bunch of other books through the book club stuff that, I set it up as a way that people like pitch ideas, and then we vote. And it's like this whole voting process that's fun. But that means there's just like dozens and dozens more of these titles that I hear about that I hadn't heard about before. And like, oh geez, now my list is so much more gigantic than it was before, but like in a good way. And it's been awesome. And I really, to be transparent, I really liked that the Patreon didn't like explode immediately, right? Because I think about like Talking Story, right? Just as an easy example, they started their thing and it just like, whoa, so many people, which on one hand is amazing, right? But on the other hand, that's a lot to manage when you're just starting this new thing that you got to work the kinks out and all this stuff. And so I'm really glad that, it started out with like, I think it started with like 8 people in the book club or something. And I was like, okay, you know what? Thank you, right? Because of course, would it be cool to have 1,000 people in there? Sure, right? But like, I would have dropped the ball. There's no way I could have managed all of it initially. So I've been able to kind of learn and evolve it a little bit with a smaller group that like there's just less people to embarrass myself in front of. And then as it can kind of slowly grow, and as it has slowly grown, it's been like manageable. So that's been nice. So like I'm really really happy with how it's gone. It's not going to break the bank by any means, and it never will. But that's not the point, right? Like it's a little something extra, like Brian said, to help cover some of the little costs, but it's not like that's not the main focus. The focus is just let me connect with these people more and find some books I might not have picked up otherwise, and like so by across all of those, I think it's been a huge win. So I'm really happy with it.
That's incredible. And you know what? We keep talking about all these just phenomenal people in our space. Talking Story, the Mintons. Um, this is a really good segue, of course, because the Mintons are also brilliant authors, and
Yeah,
their book Discovery, the first book in their Strange Eons, was just
very
spectacular,
good.
and it's
Very
blown
good.
up as well, right?
Hmm.
So that's kind of a good segue. Quickly to put up what Jaron says. I know a lot of booktubers who burned out shortly after starting Patreon. Yes, yeah, it
Can
is.
see it.
Yeah, that's a good point, Joanna. It is a lot, as Jake was mentioning. And, the fact that if it grows small, incrementally, that's one thing. But if, the positive thing is, oh, yeah, it blows up, but then you have to keep up with everything, right?
Yeah.
And that's tough. So, um, but yeah, great segue. Speaking of the Mintons, because as I said, they're brilliant authors and they do it collaboratively, all three of them. Jacob, John, and Amy, they're a family,
Hmm.
husband, wife, and son, and they write this great,
Yeah.
you know, eclectic, brilliant sci-fi thing together, and they're going to keep going, and it's become very popular. And there's a lot of booktubers who are already authors, myself. So I'm not some popular booktuber. I have a very small channel, tiny channel. I started off as an author, and I started off primarily a lot of it was just a way to give back. Like you're talking about giving back, I want to
Yeah.
like feature people in the community and things like that, right? Um, and but so there's a lot of booktubers that are authors, a lot of authors that become booktubers, vice versa. You have people like your friend and all of our friends, the incredible, one of the kindest, warmest, smartest people on BookTube, Philip Chase. I mean,
Yeah.
just an outstanding author, and but just an incredible person, and another brilliant academic. Who is so well known in our side of this space. But you want to write a book,
Yeah.
you want to write fantasy. I'm
Yeah.
taking.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna sit back and hopefully listen. And I know you won't be able to divulge all, but if just to hear a little bit about that would be
Okay.
would be
Uh, sh-
fabulous.
sure. First of all, let me just quickly say, um, I absolutely love what you've done with your channel. And you and Philip had a really great discussion recently about like giving back to the community and doing all these amazing things. And I loved that discussion. It was great. And it was just, it's so true. Both of you have done so much to just highlight other people. And it's so selfless and it's just amazing. And the world needs more of that. So thank you for that. It's huge. Um, Writing stuff is I have so much imposter syndrome with it still, because it's one of those things that it's like, you know, you can only talk about it so much, but it's you got to do it at some point. Otherwise, I'm like, oh, am I just a poser? Like, what am I doing? But I've dipped my toe in a little bit. I finished a draft of a short story. Okay, so I'll hold on to that. But editing's hard, by the way, man. Yeah, that's a learning experience. But anyway, it's something I've wanted to do really since I was a little kid. I remember very distinctly being in grade school. I must have been, I don't know, 12, 10, 12, something like that. And just like having these ideas that all of them were just copies of the series that I liked as a kid. Right. And it was just like, oh, yeah, I'm having all these ideas. And, and none of it was original, but it was still, I just had fun with it. Right. And I was just like, yeah, this would be fun. I want to do this. And I would plan all this stuff and just never do anything because I got distracted with playing basketball or playing computer game or whatever. So, but it's always kind of been there. And now as I've gotten older and as I've read more stuff and I've just seen what people can do with this, I'm like, man, this sounds fun. And I listen to so many discussions of people, of authors talking about their books, of people talking about like the craft of writing and how they're doing certain things. And just as an art form, it's so interesting to me. And it's so like when you get that peek behind the curtain and you see like this evokes this reaction because of this reason. Oh, like it's not just this, somebody was just gifted, and obviously, people are gifted, but it's not just purely this nebulous whatever thing. It sort of is somewhere in the middle between, like, there is sort of a science to it, but it's also very much an art, and there's crossover, right? Like, oh, that's so cool. And so just on like a intellectual level, I'm interested in just trying this thing. And then it's like, now I have people that I'm friends with that have books, and like I get to talk to them about their book. Like I've gotten to talk to you, I've gotten to talk to Philip, I've talked to the Mittens, I've talked to Chance, I've talked, like, there's so many people, Janny, there's so many people. And just like that exchange of energy and passion and happiness and like all these like, just, oh, I just want some of that. It just seems so cool. And so there's a bunch of reasons why I want to do it. And it's just been frankly just a time thing. I've tried to sit down and do it a bunch of times over the last few years, but it's every time I would sit down, I'm just like, I should probably work on this thing for school though, And so now, I'm hoping, like, I'll still always have that excuse, right? Because there will always be a research project that I'm doing. There's always a class that I need to prepare for, whatever. But it's no longer a 4-year thing with a deadline that I have to finish this thing by then. It's a whole career. So I'm hoping that now I can be like, you know what? I could work on that, but I could work on this too, and it'll all get done. Like it'll be okay. So I'm hoping that I quit, taking the excuse to get out of it. But I think that what I really want to do is, in some ways, emulate like all of the stuff that's become my favorite, in the sense, not of like what happens on the page, but of what they have accomplished, right? In the sense of, for example, one of my favorite things about Malazan is he'll take a certain emotion or a theme, but look at it from like a dozen different points of view, and doesn't tell you what to think. It's just like, here's all these other people and how they thought about it. Here you go. And it's made me think so much about, well, how do I feel about this thing? And I've learned so much about empathy and so much about just exploring myself and the world and all these things. So like that is very enticing to me. Like, can I do that? Can I pick, an emotion or something and just build a story basically around the theme? Because I find a lot of my favorite things are kind of like that. That it's not built around the plot; it's built around the theme or this interesting character in this interesting place or whatever, right? So it's like I think about that from Malazan, or I think about from Wars of Light and Shadow, just how deep it is, and just how, like, the writing style. Like I could never write like Janny, right? Nobody can, but like just like caring about the prose, right? And trying your best and these things. Or I think about, I've become a huge Book of the New Sun fan, and just like the stuff that he's done with the symbolism and like these little things, like, oh, that's cool. Or Sun Eater does stuff that I love, or like just taking aspects of all these things that I like and just seeing like, okay, well, how can I come up with a story that like I can kind of play with those things, but I don't want to copy it, obviously, right? But like the spirit of what was accomplished with this piece of art, how can I sort of wrap that into how can I wrap a piece of me into that, I guess is what I mean. So like that's the stuff that's kind of bouncing around in my head. And I have I have like a document that's just got a ton of ideas. And so like I've been trying to like just let the seeds be there. And then when the time is finally available, to try to jump in. So it will happen. I refuse to let myself live my entire life without doing this. I'll regret it. So it's, yeah, there's a lot there, but it's exciting to think about. It's fun.
Well, we're excited to hear about it. Again, I absolutely cannot wait. It's gonna happen when it's time.
Yeah,
Um, for some of us, like the Phillips, like myself, we published much later in life. There's writers all the time, 40s, 50s, L.L. Stevens, Sordanian. That series was cooking for ages, and she's an experienced author. She's been
hmm,
writing for years, but this series, who she feels like that's her marquee series, that's
yeah,
published,
yeah,
at a very different stage of her life. And or you take someone like Jenny, who's been writing for decades, the better part of 5 decades,
yeah,
but just finished her series recently. Just finished her
hmm,
magnum opus, her marquee series recently.
yeah,
So it's a journey, and it's not about, as you hit the nail on the head, whereas it's not about when you start. It's that you start at some point, right?
Yeah.
That you don't let life pass you by, and this thing, you have this book inside you, these ideas you want to express and get out there, that at some point when you're ready, when all the timing is right, whether it's, life circumstances, or career goals and aspirations, like whatever you, it's all about, and no, I totally get what you're saying, and I love the fact that I think we're all on the same page as writers, and I obviously I'm including you in this too. That so much, especially if we're big fantasy fans, and like, it's not about something being directly derivative; it's about being inspired by,
Yeah.
right? It's not
Yeah.
about mimicking or copycatting. It's just all of these books that I love. They inspire me. And I love what this author did here. I love what Guy Gabriel Kay did with this, and I love what Danny Wirtz did with this, or what Philip Chase with this, or
Yeah.
But it's inspired by. But I don't doubt, with how well read you are, how smart you are, and what you know about books, and then the passion that you bring as well. I don't doubt your stuff is going to be absolutely fabulous. I cannot
I
wait.
hope
Whenever
so.
that is, hopefully, I mean, if you wait to your 50s, unfortunately, I probably won't be around to read it. But at the same time,
Say that.
hopefully it's sooner than that. So
Yeah.
I'm getting up there, but and you're still a young guy. But I will quickly say, and it's funny, we're talking more, kind of a through line here. We're talking more about the reading side, but Joanna puts up a great question about the writing side. So she says, Jake, is a hard translation from academic writing, no style, to fiction writing.
Uh, sort of. We were talking a little bit earlier about, like, there are some through lines, right? Like foreshadowing is so vital to both. So like there are some things. What's the word to use there? There are like elements of each that are consistent, I suppose. But when I've tried to do, there's been some times where I tried to do some of each in the same day, for example, and like it's tough.
That's a lot.
It's tough because it's like the academic stuff. It's like it's so dry, and like it sort of needs to be. It needs to be like very to the point, very concise, very specific terminology that's there for a reason, so that we all know exactly what we're talking about, and like stuff like that. Um, and like almost as simple as it can be, while still using proper terminology and stuff. Whereas like, I mean, I guess you could write fiction like that, but it just doesn't seem that fun. And so I've always appreciated, prose that can be a bit poetic without, like obviously it can go too far and be, over the top and a little annoying or whatever. But like when I've tried to, like, okay, let me totally switch gears and try this little thing, it's almost like I it like short circuits when it's trying to come out. It's just like, oh, I can't do that. Wait, I'm supposed to do that. Wait, like it's just this weird thing. And so that's one of the things that I've learned as I've tried to dip my toe into fiction stuff, is like, okay, I need to have some degree of separation between the two. Um, so then it's like, if it's a if I'm working on writing this paper for a school thing, okay, well maybe I can like let ideas pop up in my brain. That's cool. I can do that, but it's been hard to like actually try to put something down on a page that way. So TLDR, yes, it it has been hard, uh, but I've been learning some tricks to hopefully make it less hard. So
Well, that's amazing. And thank you, Joanna, for that excellent question. I guess that also leads me to a kind of a side question, because obviously you're a professor, you want to be a professor. And again, huge congratulations. And we all know that many professors engage in the world of academic writing. So they write textbooks, and besides research papers and things like your dissertation, which is, of course, published, I mean, they write textbooks that become course material for courses. Do you think you'll write on the academic side as well, like formally, like write, you know, um, things of that nature?
I don't know. I've thought about it. I think, to be totally honest with you, it kind of needs to feel worth it. Um, I think that it would be I think that it would be worthwhile um, from a standpoint of being able to use that as a textbook, right? Because the textbooks take a really long time. Like science takes a long time, right? It's a long process. You can't just have one study on a topic, right? Like, and one study might take 2 to 5 years to see the light of day, but we need a bunch of them to have confidence in the results and whatever. It takes a long time. So textbooks then take a long time to update. So, if you're in an undergrad class now, sorry, your textbook's outdated. It just
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
And so being able to have something up to date would be really sick. But wow, what a time commitment.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, to be honest, I don't know how much you get paid to do that. And so if it's, I would hope that it's quite a bit, because like that's such an undertaking on top of all of the other uh, stuff that you're doing for the job. Um, so I would never say never with that. Like, I think it could be cool. It could be really fun, but it would just have to be the right scenario, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not the expert here. You're probably best off talking to the Dr. John Morrell's Grimdark Magazine fantastic review, and also another brilliant academic, and Philip Chase, and they're in the field I'm not. But from my understanding is that it can be very lucrative, especially if your textbook becomes something that in the field is used in course studies all over the country or the world. Like that's pretty, if it's if
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's something that's going to be foundational to that particular field. That's
Yeah,
pretty big. Like I'm sure you've seen lots of textbooks that are like that it's required reading
sure.
in various colleges and universities all over the world. And it's like, okay, well, the profs who wrote this, usually it's collaborative, like they
Hmm.
like, and I mean, I had a profs in university who they their text work was a foundation of the course syllabus for the course, like
Yeah,
so they're teaching the course, and they it's their book. You go to the bookstore, and, oh well, it's their book, right?
that's
There's
funny.
so, but which is kind of cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I just think that, but I was just curious if that was something that you thought maybe
Yeah,
down
it could be cool.
that
It
you
could be cool. It just needs to make sense, I guess, as unhelpful as that phrase is. But yeah, especially something like that, that could be pretty cool to be seeing it used in all kinds of classrooms or whatever. That'd be.
yeah, that'd be
But
amazing.
then you get the question, do you use a pen name for like fiction stuff to keep them separate, or then you got to figure that out also.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and
Yeah,
I could be wrong. Again, I'm not the expert in this topic, but I think a lot of them, like I have a cousin who is really well educated, and in his field, he's written and published academic type books, and I think it's more about you know, using your authentic, your name, especially if someone who has a doctor of philosophy, that's something
for
that I
sure.
think helps with your, your CV and your
Yeah,
credentials. It gets more about
absolutely.
promoting that as well, right? So, but we'll
Yeah.
see. Maybe you'll be a best-selling author in the in the fiction side, and the best
Be cool.
side. Like you'll just be a household name, man.
That'd be awesome. That'd
Hey,
be
I just
cool.
want to give a quick shout out to the amazing Shad. Thanks so much, Shad. Friend of all booktubers and writers, great member of the community. I've had the privilege of meeting Shad in person. He is awesome. Says, hey, Jake and PL. Hoping to have Shad on my channel at some point for kind of I've been trying to start these community appreciation six elementals broadcast. So people who are not authors and booktubers and editors and everyone else, just people in the community
Yeah.
who promote and support all of us, and that we need to recognize. So I managed to have one with the fabulous Chibipo, who's been instrumental in helping, especially a big fan of Jani's and helping to promote her work and do a lot of great things
Yeah.
there. So love to have Shad on at some point. I know he's a busy man too, but Chad, always good to see you. If I don't catch up with you before London Comic Con, that's London, Ontario, Canada, not London, England, in the fall, hopefully we get to see each other there, or but yeah, I hope to have Shad on my channel at some point in the
That's
future.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah, he's a great guy. He's an awesome guy. So I want to loop back a bit to, and I especially held this. I couldn't wait. I held this on purpose because I love your content. I watch almost every video you put out. I mean, one of those
Thank
booktubers
you.
you're must watch. I may not always comment, but I comment on a lot of them. And you put out a video, and I don't want to speak for you. I'll let you more summarize it. It had to do with appreciation of books. Essentially, this just I'm paraphrasing here. Appreciation of books and reading that you know, acknowledging and valuing books for pure entertainment value, but also maybe emphasizing that there is a lot to be gained from, you know, the more serious aspects of reading and a
Sure.
book, and like I want to ask you a bit about that video. I have a couple questions there, but just
Yeah.
what made you put that out specifically, that video, what you did?
Okay. So here, the original, the genesis of this video was I spent like 2 weeks where at the same time I was reading Storm Fortress, January. It's incredible, masterpiece book,
Yes.
and this book called Daggermouth by H.M. Wolfe that is unbelievably popular. Like I can't.
Yeah.
Um, at the time when I made the video, which I don't even know, a couple weeks ago, whatever. The book had been out for like 5 months, and it has like 75,000 ratings on good. Like it's unreal how
Yeah.
popular, virally popular this book is. And I've been for a while interested in dipping my toe into the romantasy space because I'm just curious. Like this is so popular. What's the hype all about? Right? Let's see what's up. And me and a couple friends were like, shout out Andrew, Brother Grimdark on Instagram, and Ashley, who is on Instagram, also Library of a Silver Saint on YouTube. Two of
Great.
the most amazing people.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And we were like, should we buddy read one of these books? We're all kind of, curious. And we picked this one because it was so popular. Oh, it's got to be great, right? And the the expectation and the hype around this book was like up here, and I was when I talked about it on my channel, I was like, okay, I'm gonna really highlight because some things I did really like about it, right? I thought the characters were awesome, really well done characters. There's like some stuff like that. I thought the smut was great. I'm just gonna be honest, right? And I and I tried to kind of leave it, but like privately, I have ranted about this book with some friends, and like there's even now in hindsight, I'm just like I was too. I try to be really positive on my channel. I was a little bit. I'm like I might be like misleading people a little bit on accident, right? Like I should have been a little bit more critical. Um, that a lot of it, frankly, I just don't think was that well done. If I'm just being totally transparent, and I hate to say that because I don't want to play a part in like hurting somebody's career or anything like that. I think this book's going to be fine though, right? Like
Yeah.
it has so much it's momentum. It's going to be fine. But nonetheless, I read these two books like side by side, and I just couldn't help but wonder why is one of these explosively popular and one of them is unheard of, and that's a complete juxtaposition to how much care the author took into making them. I don't want to say one's good or one's bad or whatever, because everyone has personal taste, right? And I love books that are just popcorn reads for pure. Like I like the Star Wars books; they're great, right? Like this, whatever. But like you can just tell how much care and time and energy went into writing a Light and Shadow book versus this thing that has a ton of plot holes and a ton of stuff that just world building stuff that doesn't make sense. And like, did you think about this a little bit? I don't know. So I'm like, well, why do certain things get so popular and other things don't? What's going on with this? So I was just trying to like, I don't know, think it through, I guess. And I put out a bunch of ideas in the video, and there was great there were so many comments in that video compared to my normal response, which was great. And people were like, some people disagreed with some of the points I made, which is awesome, and I always welcome that. And people are presenting other points, and I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. I didn't even think about that. That's great. And it was just a fun conversation to have started. That thankfully nothing devolved into just hating on some books over others or whatever. It was all, at least to me, felt constructive of like, oh, I wonder if this is the reason why some of these things, are more or less popular or whatever. But yeah, so it became, I was trying to frame it carefully in the video as like a conversation rather than a rant, even though a rant probably would have got more views. But I just don't want to be that guy really, at least publicly.
Well, one of the reasons I respect you so much is that clearly you were trying to be positive, and obviously there were positive things in the book. And it's, I guess, the reason I asked this question specifically is I think it lends itself to the aspect of why we do the things that we do as booktubers, as readers, as writers, like, how we perceive the value of literature, of books. and different books mean different things, and different
Yep.
books are written for different purposes, and different books are perceived different ways. And but I that video really, like, like I said, I love your content. I love all everything, but that video kind of touched my soul. And I think the reason
Cool.
it did was because I've always grappled with, that same thing, and that I totally understand and respect that, like you say, there's some movies that you watch for the emotional impact, for the characterization, the depth of characterization, for the themes, for the whatever, right? And there's some movies you just watch the things blow up and
Yeah.
explode, right?
What's
And
wrong with that?
it's just, or just a romance that you can just, do something or whatever, right? And
Yeah.
all of these things are all valid, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting either one or all those things from what you consume in terms of. But I think what your video got me thinking was that, yeah, like, I have become, I think, for the most part, and is that a bad thing, when it comes to, and it's kind of like an oxymoron. I'm a huge fantasy fan, but yet I consider myself a serious reader. Like, I read stuff
Yeah.
that's, like, serious. I don't read romancy, really. I'm not saying romancy can't be serious, but I don't read, lit RPG. Not that I can't be serious and have deep thematic work and all these things, but I tend to read in my mind what I consider somewhat serious and dark, and more. It's more about the gravity of the work, and
Mhm.
very epic, and very momentous, and very ponderous. These works that are, um, especially on an intellectual level, they're picked apart in so many ways. The Malazans you refer to, the Wars of Lights and Shadows, these series that, part of their appreciation in the literary space is because of the depth and breadth and how serious they are
Yes.
and what they explore. And I, I realize that that's what I gravitate towards. But of course, that doesn't mean that, again, there isn't value in stuff that's not like that. But I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, perhaps and I think it's part of, is more me about age, that I think I lament that books like Jani's, authors like Jani's, who write with this depth and weight and heft to everything they do, and it's what a masterpiece of literature, that perhaps they are not as appreciated broadly as and perhaps they shouldn't be, because again, you talked about, like, popular means that basically more people, of greater majority of people, would like a thing than not, right?
Mhm.
And I think I probably, again, I don't have raw, I don't have data to say, back this up, but I'd say most people read for pleasure and escapism rather than the serious, the gravitas of the book,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But some people do read for that, right? But I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong. What I know I've been lamenting is that less and less people seem to read for those
Mhm.
reasons, and more people seem to read for entertainment. There's nothing wrong with reading for entertainment. In a way, we all read for entertainment, but I'm saying the type of books, right?
Yeah.
So was that kind of what also you were,
Yeah. Yeah, I
getting at?
think I would definitely agree with that. And like you're saying, like, there's nothing wrong with the like, I just read the 3rd Harry Potter book. I love it to death. It's some of the most fun I've had all year, right? Like, I love this stuff. But it's it's not better, it's just different when you read something that, like, it has the entertainment value, of course, but it, like, changes you as a person. Like, it makes you think about so it's like there's so many books that I love, so many series that I love, but my favorites are the Janny Words, the Steven Erikson, the Stephen Donaldson, the Gene Wolfe, the stuff that's really made me, I don't know, face aspects of myself that I hadn't seen before, or think about other people in a different way that I haven't thought of before. And, like, it's just a shame that more people don't get that experience, right? And, like, if they expose themselves to that and they don't like it, totally fair,
Yeah,
right? No, that's fine. Um, we're all busy. We all got stuff going on. Some people, they're like, I can't focus on that right now. I just need something easy. So cause I got to focus on, you know, getting my next paycheck. I got to take care of my kids. I got to whatever. Cool. Right. I get it. Um, but it's just like, I think so many people just haven't experienced, they don't even know that that exists, you know? And that's, Christopher Rocky said this one time and it really stuck with me. He was talking about how like reading is the way that we learn who we are and how we're the same as other people or different from other people, or how we form our own belief systems. Is you read stuff and you think about it and you either agree with it or you don't, and you read other stuff, and like it's just that really stuck with me. And I just I've gotten so much value out of that sort of thing, and it sounds like you certainly have also, and so many people have. And I just wish that people outside of our little bubble of booktube and whatever, who like that kind of thing, that it would just on a more widespread popular level, that people would kind of see more of that kind of thing. And I, funny enough, I think like somebody like Brandon Sanderson is kind of in the middle there somewhere, that he's gaining some of that popularity, and he doesn't have the depth of a Malazan or a Janie Wirtz or whatever, but there certainly is some there. I mean, his character work is fantastic, I think, and people can get that sort of thing. And how many people have had a profound experience by reading Kaladin's story or Dalinar or any of these people. So like there's some crossover there too, and I think that's part of why he's so popular. But yeah, I'm rambling, but I very much agree with you. I think that's a huge point.
No, not at all. It's funny you mentioned Brandon Sanderson because, and perhaps I guess there's an argument again and again. I've read only up to a certain point in Stormlight Archive, but there's an argument now that because, and it's funny, and I'm not saying for or against or whether it's about the way he presents those themes or not, but there's an argument that the more he is more overt about certain themes and things that he's presenting, the more criticism there is about his work.
Mm,
That like I know Wind and Truth, that I haven't read it yet, but I know that's gotten a lot of flack because of a lot of critiques and perhaps it's more
sure.
about the way he's presenting it. Some people's are issues rather than the actual theme, but for some people, I think there are the themes are that they're more overt. Perhaps that's people who like less in your face a type of, and I don't think there's anything wrong with either, like, but just that people's preference, right?
Sure.
But um, you know, I also wonder though, Jake, like because I can say for me, I know that my writing is very much it is like the thematic work for me is all the things that have inspired me to write those themes. Um, those are things that have been deep inside me that I wanted to respond to. That's part of the reason, a big reason why I write. And for me, it's yeah. Of course, I want people to like the book and enjoy I'll scene or this love scene or whatever, but that's not why I write. And I don't write per se to be popular. Of course, I want people to read the book, but it's not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for example, someone like Brandon Sanderson writes strategically, very not that you can't find beautiful passages, but more a straightforward prose,
For
not
sure.
elevated prose. He does that strategic. He's very candid about it, that so that
Hmm.
the vast majority of people will read his books, right?
Yeah.
So rather than the more elevated towards the purple, where some people they don't want the elaborate prose, right? But he does
Right.
that to sell books, right?
Yeah, and
And
it
you don't
works.
follow that, right? But then you compare that again, not to be a dev because I think she's just one of the greatest living authors, and I think her prose is some of the best out there. Janie Wirtz that writes, it is like poetry, right? It is,
Hmm.
and it's so deep. And it's not just flowery. There is so much weight behind what she
Yes.
says, so much intention, right? And it
Yep.
evokes so much emotion, right?
Yeah.
But I know that I write for me probably more than I write for anybody else, and I think
Mm.
a lot of writers do. What kind of writer do you think you're going to be? Do you
Mm.
think you're going
Ooh.
to more want to write to market essentially? So strategically doing certain things so you can gain more audience or readership? Or do you think it's going to be about, no, I'm going to write the kind of book I want to write. I want to write it. I want to make sure it's well edited and it's polished, etc. But it's more about writing the book that I want to write for me with the themes I want to discuss and the characters terms of how I do character. What kind of writer do you think can give us a hint that Jake's nerd level writing
Yeah.
would be?
Yeah, well, I think it's the only correct answer to me that feels good in my soul is to completely sell out and just do what makes the most money no matter what, right? I mean, that's, no, I'm just kidding. I think, I definitely would put myself in that a similar boat as you of like, I wanna do stuff that is, meaningful to me, um, sort of selfishly first and foremost, because another thing, Sanderson, speaking of him, said this a long time ago too, and I don't remember where it was, but that stuck with me. And he said one of the things that he loves about writing is getting to explore things through somebody else's eyes and like learning somebody else's life experience or learning something about himself because he can go explore it in sort of a disconnected way. And that's really interesting to me too of like, okay, is there an idea or a theme or an emotion that I've struggled with? And well, sometimes it's hard to just sit there and meditate and think about this thing because life's busy and whatever. But what if I do it this way? What if this is a way to really deeply explore this thing and put myself in somebody else's perspective that might look at this thing from the other direction and like kind of hold a mirror up to it and see these different things. And so that really excites me to think about it that way. And of course I would hope that people would, like you said, that they would like it or that they would get something out of it too. I'm not so narcissistic as to think that I'm the only person in the world who struggles with X, Y, and Z things. So I'm sure people could connect with it, right? As long as I don't, botch the delivery of it, which is possible. But yeah, that's what I would like to do anyway, is something that is entertaining, of course, but has meaning. And I think above all is clear that a lot of care went into it. And, that I wasn't just trying to rush this thing out, that like I wanted to do the best that I could. And is it going to be perfect? No, of course not. But like, I want to try my best at least.
Oh, I have the utmost faith in you, sir, that it's going to be brilliant whenever. And again, I absolutely just can't wait to to read it whenever, whatever form it comes out, when it comes out. Um, and again, I'm trying to apply all these things that you apologize you may not necessarily be ready to talk about.
No.
But do you think, based on everything you've told me so far, and I'm not trying to nail you down hard and fast to one route or the other,
Sure.
do you think that whenever this thing is done, and you may simply be like, it just may not be, it may be too soon to answer this question. Do you think that do you have ideas of how you might publish it? Do you think you might go the self-publishing route? Do you think you might go the traditional publishing, pitch, get an agent, etc.? Do you think something in between? Like, what are you thinking in terms of?
Um, I don't know for sure because I see such pros and cons to both. And, it's self-publishing is like the hot thing right now, obviously, right? Like people are really excited about it and it's becoming way more viable for so many more people. And and to be frank, we talked about like why I started the channel before. It's a little part of it, right? If you can build in an audience who might give your book a shot, that's only helpful, right? Unless it's bad and then it torpedoes your career immediately, right? But hopefully it's not bad. But so that's like, okay, self-publishing has a lot of great things about it. And like I said earlier, I'm really enticed by like entrepreneurial type things and having that creative freedom. And that just sounds awesome. And you don't have to wait. Okay, awesome, it's done. I guess it'll be out in 18 months. Like, you don't have to deal with that. At the same time, you have to deal with all this other stuff that you wouldn't have to with a publisher behind you. And, but then I hear so many, and you know way more about this than me, I'm sure, but like I hear people talk about how even traditionally published authors now have to do so much of their own marketing and they have to do so much of all this stuff that like, man, you're halfway indie published at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. To me, it kind of feels like one of those where it's like, well, why not query it and see what happens and just keep your options open, basically, right? And then like, maybe you get an agent or maybe you get in contact with a publisher or whatever, and they offer you something, right? Let's say you're lucky enough to be made an offer. then you can assess like, okay, does this seem reasonable, or is this like, oh, I don't know, this doesn't feel right. And like, as far as I'm aware, you can always just say no and go self-publish it, right? So that kind of seems like that makes sense to me, to kind of keep the options open for as long as you can, and then get more information and then kind of decide from there. My heart says self-publish, um, partially because that's what like a lot of friends have done, and I'm like, that sounds, also selfishly, they can help me with it, right? They've learned so much stuff that I can pick their brain and fast track and not make so many of the same mistakes and whatnot. But so I don't know. I'm open. I would say I lean self-published for sure, for those reasons. But I've generally been well served in my life by keeping as many options on the table as I can for as long as I can, without wasting time. I guess you can just spin your wheels for no reason, and that's not very helpful. But keep those options open, and then get the information that you can, make a choice from there. That's generally served me well. So
I think that's a really smart strategy. But I know no matter how you publish, it's going to be successful. I just know it. I feel in my bones.
you're the nicest person I've ever met, dude. This is
No, but this is the truth, though. This is the truth, my friend. This is the truth. I have a lot of faith in you, and why wouldn't I? Right? Like, why wouldn't I? You've only proven yourself to be awesome in everything that I've seen, the limited things that I've seen you put your hand to. So why wouldn't you have faith? And why wouldn't you have faith in yourself after all you've accomplished in the short time you've been on the earth, right?
yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
true.
So,
Yeah,
so I think sky's the limit for you, sir. So,
thank you.
but again,
Yeah,
can't wait to have that added to your list of many accomplishments, from awesome booktuber to doctor to fitness guru and all these things,
yeah.
and also good person, good citizen.
Thanks.
To add published author to that, I think that's gonna be pretty cool.
It'd be cool. I'm excited. I'm excited. It's yeah. Oh man, it's it's so tough. It's like I think about anytime I see you know um, one of these amazing friends that I've made through being on in this book space. They get to talk about their upcoming release or this thing that they're working on, or they're doing an interview with somebody who loved their book. I just get that like fire in my gut, like, oh, I want to do that. That seems so fun. Seems so cool. So it will happen. I do feel confident that like it will suck really bad initially, and then I'll get better, and like it will work out. Um, so I would like to think that I have a good perspective on the process of it, and just fortunate to have, like I said, so many friends who can help me with things. Like if I don't know how to, like I have this idea for this character arc thing, but I just don't know how to actually put words. What do I do? Right? And like I can talk to
But you
people.
can talk to Jenny Wirtz, one of the world renowned.
Crazy.
You can message Jenny and go, "Hey, Jenny." You
Yeah.
know, you
Wow.
can talk to Philip Chase. You can talk to Chance Dillon.
Yep.
You can talk to whoever. You can ask me. You can ask
Yeah.
whomever. All the authors that and go, "Hey," and
Yeah.
like it's. And I think that continues to be one of just the huge benefits of this community. That and I talk about this a lot, that just this, and I'm not saying this to reassure you, but I think this, that writing seems like this really solitary thing, and in some ways, like the actual writing is, but the rest of it isn't. It's a
Yeah.
community, right? So I'm stuck. I can't figure out how to get this ISBM thing. Like it's not well called. I'm trying
Yeah.
to upload this on Amazon. Someone got your back.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know where to get a good developmental. Don't worry, man. Like it's that you're covered, right?
Yep.
So I think hopefully that'll give you a sense of comfort too.
Yeah.
That you're not going to be struggling on your own trying to figure out certain things.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, as I write my seventh book, and I still
Mhm.
can't believe this, my seventh book, and I'm about to finish the 7-book series,
Yeah.
that the I'm someone who I think I'm like someone like a completionist. Like completing things means a lot to me,
Yeah. Me too.
right? And I think you're kind of the same. And I think there is that. I'm telling you, yes, there is that immense, almost immeasurable sense of satisfaction when
Uh,
one of the babies comes out and it's like, I wrote that.
yeah.
Like I wrote that thing. It's published. Like, and it's not just my mom who's reading it. Like these other people in
Yeah.
in Australia bought it today. I look at my Amazon stats. Oh, someone from from
Yeah,
Singapore bought it, and someone from that's kind of cool. Someone I no idea who they are, and like
amazing,
that's pretty wild, right? And
amazing.
again, I am a very small, tiny but dedicated readership, just like a very tiny YouTube channel. I'm grateful for every single one of those people who read and enjoyed my book. I'm extremely grateful and humbled that, but and I'll never have the audience of certain authors, but I'm so grateful and happy with the audience I do have. And I think once you're satisfied with, not that you can't work hard to gain more, but I think once you're satisfied with the actual accomplishment of publishing and writing and publishing, and then the actual accomplishment of having some audience, no matter how big or small, you will never spend a day dissatisfied as an author.
Yeah,
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 not
man,
there'll be days that'll be rough, or but
sure.
like any other job or any other thing you do, right? It's like there's days you go to the gym. It's like it doesn't matter, man. When I was in shape, when I was working on doing those things, of course, but and when I was really into fitness, and when I was really into sports, and when I was really into that stuff, you would just have days where man, I slept really well, had a great nutrition day. Um, it's bright, sunny outside. I'm feeling great, and I do my workout, and I've hydrated, and I got everything. Everything seems set up for success. Maybe the gym is quiet, or my favorite workout buddy's there, my favorite spotter's there, whatever. And you have a crappy lift or a crappy workout, and there's no logical explanation for why. You're
Yep.
like, but it just happens, right? And you're like, okay, well, on to the next one, right? But you did it.
Yeah.
You showed up. You went on the track, or you went to the gym, or you went for the run, or you did whatever. You did it.
Yep.
And all of those single days add up to a fitness lifestyle, right? And add up
Mhm.
to you being healthier, and even if it was a crappy workout, right?
Yep,
So you did
absolutely.
more than people who aren't, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
writing's the same, right? And every single bad sentence you put into writing your book is a positive, right?
yeah,
Because that sentence can be edited and rewritten, right?
for
But
sure.
it all builds towards the thing, the finished product. So
Yeah, I love
um,
that. I love that, and I do wanna say also, the audience for these books is only gonna get bigger, because these are awesome. These are legitimately really, really, and everyone's been better than the last, and, like, and I promise, like, I have not just said this because I know you now. Like, once we get to book 3, this is must-read fantasy. This is fantastic, and I'm hoping that like, and it's not just me. There's several of us in this read along group that are talking about them on our channels and stuff, and um, especially with Philip's channel being bigger and stuff like that. Like, I'm hoping that we can help get sort of like with Janny's books, just like get another wave of people. And I've even seen it in we talked about like my book club before. Like, there's a couple people who have read further than me in the series, and you're like, dude, you got to catch up. Like, I'm getting ready to start book 5 or whatever. Like, it's cool to see, and I have zero doubt that it's just going to continue getting bigger and bigger. And I'm super stoked to be caught up because I'm feeling left out. I got to know what happens. And I will, without a doubt, be ready on release day for book 7. There's no doubt about that. So,
Well, I'm so honored, sir. And again, I said this off stage, but I cannot thank you enough for all people like you and Shay and David for working on the page, and Nikhil. And what
yeah.
a wonderful Philip Chase, and what an amazing group of people,
Yeah.
right? Like I can't get over like the caliber of people that you guys have decided, of all the millions of authors, and especially all the independent authors. There's great indie authors coming out every day, putting stuff out every day, right? And for
Yeah.
you guys to pick my series and actually enjoy it, like generally enjoy it, it just
Yeah.
I'm just I can't tell you how much it means. It is huge.
Well,
And
it's deserved.
I do have big plans for when I finish the series to have like a party, and have, of course, all you guys there amongst some other people that have really supported me.
That'll be awesome.
Maybe have like a couple of half-hour segments or something. Have like one will be like the Drowned Kings, and the other one will be, like just Jared will be there for sure. People like Jared who have supported me immensely and done so much, put up dedicated reviews of my books and put reviews on page chewing written reviews, and have just done so much to promote the series and say positive things about it. Like Jared, I can't thank him enough. You like so many people. I am blessed. I know I am, but what you have done has meant so much, sir, and I really appreciate it. And I've got to become friends with you, which has just been a great bonus, right? Just
Yeah.
talk about books in general. And of course, I loved your channel before. you touched my book, so and that's just going to continue. I know your audience is only going to grow. Like, dude, like, how's it feel? Like, I think you're like past 10K subscribers now, right?
No, no, no. I'm like
Close,
4, something
close.
like that.
Oh, I can't. Okay, well, I mean, you're on your way. Like, you're on that
We're
trajectory,
getting there.
and and how long has your channel been in existence?
August will be 2 years.
Wow, bro,
So
that's some serious growth. That's
it's
some serious growth.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
That's some serious growth, man. You gotta give yourself a pat on the back that you must be doing something really well. You're obviously doing a lot of things well to have
I
that
hope so.
kind of growth, right? So
Yeah, I hope so. I honestly, I give the credit to the people that I've been able to have conversations with, right? Like being able to talk to cool authors or other cool booktubers and stuff. Like that's just been uh hopefully I have some worthwhile things to say on just of my own volition also. But I think that I got to give the credit to everybody else, man. It's just been like it's been a place that I can get like some unique conversations out there that like every conversation is the only place you can see that conversation, right? Like this video on your channel is the only place they're going to see you and I talk about these things. And like that's such a cool thing. And it's yeah, I don't know. And people like gave me a shout out early on, like that was really helpful. And it's like that was great. But yeah, I don't know. I can't explain, especially that initial. I think the first 3,000 were in the first year, which yeah, which blew my. I was like, why? Like, what are you guys doing? But it's slowed down a lot this year, which I think is because I've just been so busy and I've had a lot less live streams and less collab stuff and whatever, which is fine. I mean, I had other priorities this past year, um, but anyway, yeah, it's been awesome. So yeah,
well, listen, I could keep you all day talking. I'm going to respect your time. I know it's your Saturday. You've had a very busy last few months, a great last 2 months, and months of wonder and accomplishment. Again, huge congratulations, doctor,
thank
on
you so
the
much.
doctor of philosophy. It's more than just a title. It means that you've really, really succeeded in a very challenging and very rewarding area of academic um, achievement that very few reach those heights. So I hope when you get the degree that you take a few minutes just to look at them, then go, oh man,
Oh,
like
that thing's going on my wall immediately. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I'm excited.
yeah. I hope you
Thank you
do
so
that.
much.
Congratulations on the immense success of the booktube channel. It's so well deserved. You put up such fabulous content. You're a must watch for me. There's 5 or 6 booktubers that everybody knows me well. That those are like as soon as I see them, as soon as I can get to it, I'm gonna watch their videos. And you're one of them. Philip's one of them. Like there's 5 or 6 that yeah. The
I'm
first thing what I
honored.
do with my booktube time, my time in general is limited, but you're one of the
Yeah,
people that I just go to right away.
that's
And
so
there's a lot of
crazy.
people that feel that way as well. So I hope you know that. Good luck with the writing. As long as it might not be for years till we actually see the first novel come out, but still,
We'll see.
best of luck. You have a community behind you of support, and that we're all here. Whatever you need, we're here to help you in that journey, and we're going to be there celebrating the successes there as well. Um, I want to give an opportunity too, just as we're winding down, to let everybody know where to find you in the social media space, your YouTube channel, etc. Anything you'd like to promote or talk about, please feel free.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm pretty easy to find. You just search up Nerd Level Rising either on here or Instagram. I'm on there a fair amount as well. That's really it. I don't do TikTok or I tried to do Twitter for a minute and I was like, I just don't like this. Um, so really just those two places. But let me just I don't even know how to put this into words. Thank you so much for everything, man. Like this is you were a big part of why we wanted to try your books is because you are such a great person and have done so much for the community. And every bit of recognition that you get is so beyond deserved, and you deserve even way more than it, to be honest. And so I'm excited to see that continue to grow. Thank you so much for having me here today. This has been a blast. I could talk to you the entire Saturday, right? So it's just well, at least until 8 because Spurs Thunder Game 7 is on at
Yeah,
8, and I
again,
gotta watch that.
tonight. So yeah,
But yes, thank you so much. Like this just means a ton to me. All the kind words. I don't even know how to respond really. other, like, thank you isn't enough, but I'll settle for that, in for lack of stronger words at the moment. So
Well, the privilege is all mine, sir. And again, this is going to be far from the last time we chat on in this kind of forum. So, but yeah, thank you for your friendship and all you've done again
thank you.
to be willing to take a chance on my work and help shout about it. So, and just being a great guy for all of us in the community. So it means a lot. You're a treasure in the community, sir. And we're very grateful to have you, and can't wait to see where you take things next. So we're looking forward to watching that. So.
Thank you.
Quickly for the shameless self-promo stuff, P.O. Stewart, all the social media handles are at P.O. Stewart Writes, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, blah, blah. This channel, The John Kingdom Saga, where I get to interview marvelous people such as Jake on 6 Elemental interviews. I also have, with my amazing colleague, Taylor from Made to the Pages, we're under the Page 2 umbrella. We do Page 2ing, another interview series. Taylor was hoping to make it today. Unfortunately, she got tied up. But I'm sure you'll be seeing Taylor and I doing some stuff soon. Um, I am honored to be an assistant editor with the wonderful Before Go blog. Shout out to Beth Tabler and the amazing Before Go blog crew. And also, I'm also very privileged to be a part of the Grimdark Magazine posse. So shout out to all the Grimdark Magazine peeps. You never know, maybe one day we'll be talking about Jake's book as being, something featured on Grimdark Magazine. I have a feeling it's going to be dark.
That'd be really
I
cool.
think it's going to be dark. I'm
That's
just
definitely a
going
dream.
to Jake reads. I think it's going to be dark. I don't want to shock call here, but I get the sense dark and like beautiful. But anyways,
It's got to be.
yeah, I think so. Finally, the books. Website's peelster.com. 6 books out now. The most recent one, A Black Dragon on Red, is book 6. And this is book 6 of a 7-book series, and book 7 is coming, God willing, as long as I'm breathing, early, very early in 2027. I am working on it fiercely right now. So hopefully the end will be worth the investment, especially because, all series are ultimately judged by the ending. So hopefully
Sure.
the ending will be something that those who have done me the honor of sticking with the series for 7 books, they'll feel that it was worth their time and investment. So, and finally, I have a short story in the Shapers of the World Anthology 5 called Forest Dark. It's my first foray into the world of short fiction, and it is tied to my main John Kingdom universe. For some people, they may consider it a spoiler. For some people, they may consider no, it just adds to it. I'd recommend that for most people, you read this in and around before book 6 or after book 6 or with book 6, somewhere between book 3 and book 6, perhaps. I know Jake's read it, and I'm honored that he read it, and he seemed to enjoy it. So
It's very good. Very good, very cool. I know what you mean by, like, some people might think it's a spoiler and some might not. I generally am pretty sensitive to spoilers, and I don't consider it a spoiler. Like, it has only gotten me more excited to see, like, when is this going to come up again, right? So for whatever that's worth.
Okay, well, I'm so glad you feel that way. You will definitely see it come around again. But there's some amazing authors in like not just from my theory. Like there's some brilliant authors in this anthology. So please check this anthology overall. Even if you don't read my story, like there's some great story, and not every story will be for you, but there are some absolutely wonderful stories in here. This is great stuff. Shout out to Ed Willett, who's a brilliant author himself, who put this all together and has put together 5 volumes of these anthologies by these brilliant authors. So shout out to Ed Willett. He's a best-selling author himself, and renowned podcaster for his World Shapers podcast. So check out Ed and his stuff, who put this all together. And yeah, finally, my final plug is the title of book 7. I did it's funny. Jake was on a live, and I kind of did drop it there on the live, actually, kind of for the first time. I mean, people knew because they read the arc, and I'd put it on social media. But yeah, Sure Steel is the title of book 7. And again, it will be coming in early 2027, the final book of the draft. But that's just the beginning. I have a lot more planned in the saga. That's just this series. It'll just conclude Othin's journey, but hopefully there's a lot more to come in that universe. So
I sure hope so.
So that is it, folks, for myself and Jake. And once again, it was phenomenal having the incredible Nerd Level Rising join me. Check out his channel if you don't already subscribe, which I know a lot of you do. So for some fabulous bookish content. All right, folks, that is it for us, and we will see you another time. Take
Mhm.
care.
Thanks,
Bye now.
everybody.